You never would have imagined these two films are actually saying the same thing. Hi, my name is S, and in this video, we are going to break down the thematic similarities between All Quiet on the Western Front and Jojo Rabbit chapter by chapter. From propaganda and manipulated youth to innocence, humanity, and their very different ending. And despite their completely different tones, we'll see how both films ultimately deliver the exact same warning about war.
Let's get to it. God help me.
All Quiet on the Western Front and Jojo Rabbit feel like complete opposites at first glance. One is cold, brutal, and deeply realistic. The other is colorful, awkwardly funny, and almost absurd at times. But underneath those completely different tones, these both films are trying to say the same thing. They both explore how war doesn't begin on battlefields, it begins in classrooms, in speeches, in propaganda, and in the minds of young people. In All Quiet on the Western Front, young boys are emotionally pushed into war through ideas of honor and patriotism. And in Jojo Rabbit, Jojo grows up idolizing Nazi ideology because it gives him identity and belonging. And that's the first major resemblance between these films. Both show children inheriting dangerous beliefs long before they understand the consequences. What makes both stories powerful is watching those illusions slowly fall apart. Paul enters the war believing he'll become a hero. Jojo believes he already is one. In All Quiet on the Western Front, the trenches strip away every romantic idea about war. The mud, the fear, the constant death, it all feels meaningless. And in Jojo Rabbit, Elsa completely changes Jojo's understanding of people he was taught to hate. Both protagonists slowly realize that the enemy is not the same monster created by propaganda, but another human being with fear, pain, and emotions. And that's where both films become deeply human stories rather than just war stories. The most interesting difference between these films is probably their endings. All Quiet on the Western Front leaves you emotionally empty. Its ending feels hopeless, like war eventually destroys every human inside people. But Jojo Rabbit chooses a completely different emotion. Even after all those loss and pain, the film ends with freedom, dancing, and the possibility of healing. One film says innocence is destroyed forever. The other says maybe humanity can still survive after ideology collapses. But despite their different tones and endings, both films arrive at the same warning. When nationalism and ideology become more important than compassion and humanity, it's always the younger generation that pays the price. And maybe that's why these two films stay with us for so long. Because beneath the war, the satire, and the history, both are ultimately stories about lost innocence and manipulated youth. Two completely different films arriving at the exact same human truth. That was our take on the similarity between All Quiet on the Western Front and Jojo Rabbit. If you like this video, please subscribe to see more such videos. Till then, may the cinema be with you.